Today's Metro News television forecast is brought to you by Greer Industries, improving people's lives for more than a century.
Well, meteorologist Joe Hansel here with an update on your forecast. Be mindful of warm, humid conditions and likely chances of rain and storms for areas of the state for the next 5 or 6 days. A little bit of an update on the flood watches for today, including areas east, the eastern panhandle, generally from noon until midnight. There's a 12-hour period of a flood watch. Watching for potentially flash flooding caused by excessive rainfall again. And this is total over the next 5 days. The highest numbers will be generally in some of the higher elevations and near and west of the Allegheny. Regardless, there have been so many days in previous weeks with some up to heavy and excessive rain. The ground may be compromised and already saturated, so even a little bit of rain might cause some issues. Regardless from that, we have a marginal slight risk of excessive rain today and tonight for isolated to widely scattered flash flooding. That's possible again. Continue to remember that phrase, turn around, don't drown. Near and east of the Allegheny, there's a marginal risk of isolated severe storms. Damaging winds can't be ruled out in some far eastern areas of the state. We warmed up to 88 in Charleston yesterday. Partly sunny to overcast skies, likely chances of rain. There's a front nearby, near stationary. And in the long term, for the end of the week, I'll watch for another front to come in. Fly Saver forecast, it starts at home. We'll pick on Chicago. Quiet weather there today. High pressure, high near 80 degrees. From panhandle to panhandle, likely chance of rain. Highs low to mid 80s. Can't rule out some heavy and excessive rain. To the east, again, a flood watch for a number of you from noon until midnight tonight. East to west here, a lot of highs in the ranks of the 80s. Point Pleasant near 86 today. To the south, Huntington near 88. With a likely chance of showers and storms. We may get some relief early next week on Monday. Until then, there's generally a likely chance of rain for a lot of us for a number of days in a row here. So be mindful of risks of flooding and keep eyes on those streams and rivers yet too.
In 1914, the same year the first commercial flight soared and the Panama Canal opened, Greer Industries was born. Herbert and Agnes Greer began in Morgantown, West Virginia, striking the first pick into the limestone formation that would become the backbone of one of the state's great industrial legacies. From the roads we drive on, the buildings we build, and the communities we serve, Greer Industries has been delivering quality for decades. At Greer Industries, we've been improving lives for more than a century.
Capital City with news from across the state. This is Metro News Midday, presented by Salango Law, with 13 News and Tonight Live anchor Amanda Barron and Metro News' Dave Allen.
Welcome into the final hour, Metro News Midday, powered by Salango Law. Visit salangolaw.com. Tuesday afternoon, Dave Allen in the host chair, Stephanie Pauly, Ryan Nicholson, our producers today. Open line West Virginia coming up at the bottom of the hour. What's on your mind? You can call me. You can text me, 1-800-765-TALK, or text 304-TALK-304. It's Metro News Midday.
Metro News Midday is presented by Salango Law. SalangoLaw.com. Join in by calling 800-765-8255 or text 304-TALK-304. Let's go live to downtown Charleston. Here's Dave Allen.
Welcome back to Metro News Midday, powered by Salango Law. Visit salangolaw.com. Heard all over the great state of West Virginia. Great radio stations like WKKX and WVLY in Wheeling, WSLW White Sulphur Springs, WAJR Morgantown, WEPM Martinsburg, WVAW Logan, WKLP Kaiser, WD&E in Elkins, WKMZ Clarksburg, WCHS, our flagship in Charleston, and WJLS in Beckley. Open line West Virginia coming up at the bottom of the hour. We are keeping an eye on breaking news, though, out of the Wheeling area. WTRF Television reports multiple emergency agencies responding to Harbor Freight at the Highlands today after reports of smoke inside the building. Store was evacuated as first responders investigated the source of the smoke. Responding agencies included the Ohio County EMS, Valley Grove Fire and EMS, Triadelphia Fire Department, Wheeling Fire Department, and the Ohio County Sheriff's Department. Ohio County Sheriff Nelson Croft told WTRF Television a deputy is on the scene. The cause appears to be an overhead air conditioning unit or some sort of a freon leak. No additional information is available. Those reports coming out of the folks at WTRF Television in that part of the world. Appreciate the information. Open line West Virginia coming up at the bottom of the hour, 1-800-765-TALK or text 304-TALK-304. We'll talk about Certificate of Need a little bit. Jessica Dobrinsky is Chief of Staff for the Cardinal Institute for West Virginia Policy, and she joins us now. Good afternoon, and welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. Now, this debate, we've heard it for the last couple of years, maybe longer than that, about certificate of need in West Virginia as it comes to medical facilities, and we'll break that all down a little bit. In the past, though, I was reading some of the information that you put out. It's often focused on hospitals, but there's a new report you're here to talk about how those laws on certificate of need affect things like nursing homes, hospice care, home health services, things of that nature. We think about it just being hospitals, but you say in your recent report, it's not just hospitals. It goes beyond that, Jessica.
Yeah, so I've been kind of talking about this issue for several years now, and for most of the time we've really been focusing on hospitals. But West Virginia has 44 different con regulations on healthcare services. And so it spans more than just that hospital setting, which includes, again, hospice and home health and nursing homes. And so we need to start, we're talking about con holistically, and we need to start having conversations about that sector as well. It kind of goes hand in hand with hospitals, especially home health, for instance. A lot of people want to recover at home rather than in an institutional setting, and it's cheaper. So, having a conversation about those as well is really just vital to the entire conversation.
And what exactly, when we say the term, I'm going to ask a really, really dumb question here, but, you don't know I've interviewed you several times in this and other people as well, but for the people that may not know, what exactly is certificate of need?
Yeah, so the most simple way that I can describe it is that it's requiring anybody who wants to open one of, again, those 44 healthcare services to get permission from the government through the healthcare authority in order to own or operate or even expand if they're already existing. One thing that's really interesting about certificate of need, too, is that it allows existing providers, so incumbents, to actually challenge the application if somebody wants to open it. And so it's an incredibly bureaucratic process.
So, that's what I was going to ask you, and I thank you for pointing that out about the bureaucracy here, because on the surface, people would say, well, yeah, if I want to open up a healthcare facility or I want to be able to expand one I have now, I should be able to prove that there's one needed for that area. But you say no.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't exist in any other industry that we think of. Again, I always like to talk about McDonald's and Wendy's. They're great competitors, and they don't have to ask each other permission to open. And, the most important thing actually about healthcare is that this is kind of an economic term, but it's not elastic, right? So if you don't have a hospital, you don't have a hospital. Whereas actually it's a little bit better for something like fast food. If you don't have Wendy's, you can at least go to the McDonald's, right? Mm-hmm. And so this is why any kind of barrier in order for people to access healthcare services is hugely problematic, especially for rural communities.
And I want to focus on hospice care because, any type of medical facility, time is of the essence. We know that. But you say that hospice care is especially time sensitive. Median length of hospice service about, according to your reporting, about 17 days or so. And so I guess what I take away from what you wrote is if there's a delay in that, those 17 days may as well be 17 minutes, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's like the difficult thing that we need to talk about with hospice care, right? Like, unfortunately, every single person that goes into hospice, unfortunately, is going there to live out their final days. And so making sure they're as comfortable as possible and that, again, they're getting patient-centered care is incredibly important. And so if you're creating a barrier for people to have more access to that time of care, you're only lengthening the pain, especially for families as well, and the patients themselves. And so, again, if you have barely over 2 weeks and you're experiencing a wait list or you're struggling to have access in your region, maybe you have to travel to get this care, it becomes even more timely and deathly. And so having the ability for people to open new hospice centers not only, allows a patient to die comfortably, but relieves a lot of pain for families as well.
And you say that the certificate of need laws don't necessarily guarantee better hospice quality care.
Yeah, so one thing that's really interesting is that a nationwide study of almost 5,000 hospices found that con states perform better on 4 of 8 quality measures. But at the same time, 86% of hospices operate in non-con states, right? And so I think that that's the trade-off that we really have to consider, is that perhaps it is better in some quality standards, but that's not a result of con, especially if they're mostly operating in non-con states, and it's inhibiting the ability for people to come into the state, right? So it's about looking at the whole picture and, once again, remembering who should be the focus, and that's patients.
Talking again with Jessica Dobrinsky, who's Chief of Staff of the Cardinal Institute for West Virginia Policy. Now, let's move beyond hospice a little bit, talking about things like nursing home care and home health care. How does this all weigh into it?
Yeah, I mean, Con is kind of like wonderful in the way that we talk about it, because when you create a barrier to entry, it's going to create the same effects overall. So nursing home restrictions, of course, are going to limit capacity. There's going to be lower bed capacity, higher prices, poorer quality. Home health is going to be the same way. When you have less options, it's going to be harder to access that service. It's going to be more expensive, and perhaps poorer quality as well, right? So all of the things that we've always talked about with certificate of need being an inhibitor to people having the health care that they deserve can be applied to these same services as well. And so that's why, again, we went ahead and put out this brief, because post-acute care just does not get talked about enough in this conversation. And we wanted to make sure that, we reminded people that this exists outside of the hospital as well. And
is there a difference? I mean, West Virginia, Jessica, is a rural state. Even our metropolitan areas are rural, as I heard somebody say one time. But the majority of West Virginia is rural, and unfortunately, there are lower income families and lower income folks and things of that nature. And are they impacted, I guess, a little bit more greatly than what other areas that have higher incomes would be? I guess the easy answer to that would be yes, but I'll let you explain it. Yeah, of course. Yeah, rural income patients are always going to feel these effects the most, right? And so that's especially important in West Virginia when we have so many rural communities. If things are blocked or delayed, it's only going to hurt those people more. Even if something isn't directly opening in a rural community, even if it's just outside of it, it still provides another option, even if unfortunately they have to travel a little bit. I'd say one thing that's really important is that Montana, which I would say is a similar comparison to West Virginia, they have a lot of rural communities. When they repealed certificate of need, they saw a huge increase in home health agencies, right? And so, we could see the same thing in West Virginia, but once again, we have one of the most restrictive certificate of need laws in the nation, 44 services. And so we have to, again, remember at the end of the day, who are we trying to make health care better for? And it should always be patients. I mean, I know this has been discussed. You and your organization have discussed this with lawmakers over the years in Charleston during the session and so on and so forth. You've heard this, talked about the last several years, I would imagine. Are you making any headway in seeing the change that you desire in West Virginia as you go through the lawmakers of a legislative process? Yeah, I'm actually really glad you asked that. I think there's a lot of things going on right now in West Virginia, particularly including the labor and delivery closures that we've been seeing at CAMCs, Greenbrier Valley and Stonewall Jackson, right? And so I think now patients are being a little bit more aware of the fact that they're going without even more. And hospitals really are kind of not giving anything back. The Greenbrier Valley closure had multiple different excuses for why that closed. And so now, with the loss of services, I think it's becoming a lot more apparent that we need to have more access. So yeah, I think the tone is definitely shifting. Now, whether that, creates legislative change, I could never really predict that, but I do think patients are waking up a little. Jessica Dobrinsky is the Chief of Staff for the Cardinal Institute for West Virginia Policy. I'm going to allow you about the last 30 or 45 seconds or so to tell the average person listening right now. They may be driving in their truck. They may be doing something with the kids or whatever, and they're thinking, well, I mean, this is not a big deal. This really doesn't impact me. Why does it impact everybody? Certificate of need is the tip of the iceberg for healthcare. And if you don't repeal certificate of need, then nobody is able to come in freely and provide services to care. Another important thing, it can cost as much as $30,000 just for an application, and you can be told no. Imagine the kind of investment in West Virginia that's being lost because of that. And so really, if we want better health outcomes for the state of West Virginia, certificate of need has to be removed. Jessica Dobrinsky, Chief of Staff, Cardinal Institute for West Virginia Policy. Give us the website, because I know you got some information out there. People want to learn more, not only about certificate of need, but also about any of the policies, any things that you work on through the Cardinal folks. Yeah, cardinalinstitute.com. You can find all of our research on there. All right, Jessica, always a pleasure to talk to you. I appreciate you being here. Thanks a lot. Yeah, thanks so much. You're welcome. 218. It can't, look, I got a lot of friends, even family members that are in the healthcare field, and it's a surprisingly controversial subject. I mean, certificate of need, and she talked about. I like the comparison with McDonald's and Wendy's, which, by the way, I love both. But if you eat too much of either one, you may end up needing their services. Just throwing that out there. If you don't, everything in moderation. But there are other agencies, though, that go through. I don't know if the certificate of need is the right thing. I can tell you one agency, and maybe this is comparing apples to oranges, but one business that you can't necessarily just go open up something new is the broadcasting business. Okay, just throw that out there. But I do appreciate Jessica's perspective. And look, I understand completely what she's saying as somebody who tends to lean a little bit more libertarian in a lot of my views. I think the more you get the government out of things, the better off everyone will be. But also understand the concern about it as well. So that's why we had the discussion to give you something to think about. Something else to think about is the weather. Some areas of the state got some heavy rain, some storm activity yesterday afternoon. We had some big-time thunder boomers in the western part of the state. I live in Putnam County, and about 5 or 5:30 yesterday afternoon, I thought my windows were going to blow off with the thunder was so loud. There was some flooding reported in areas in Cabell County. As they say, the usual low-lying areas. Early this morning, there were some other areas, more central West Virginia, central back to the east, are being impacted by flooding. Bottom line is, if you want to know what's going on with the weather, the guy that knows is Metro News meteorologist Brian Hughes. And I would suggest that you download the Metro News television app so you can see Brian's team of meteorologists on there, or you can also follow him on social media as well. But download the Metro News television app, which you should have already done anyway. Make sure you got that and follow Brian and his team of meteorologists online as well. It is 2:20. It's Metro News Midday powered by Salango Law. Visit salangolaw.com. We'll take a break. Come back after this. Stay with us.
We'll be right back. This is Metro News Midday. Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
I'm Sean Kovich, Mountaineer Golf Coach. When disaster strikes your home, business, or golf game, call the restoration company the Mountaineers call. Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration.
West Virginia is home. It's where we work, live, and raise our families. At the heart of our communities are West Virginia hospitals and their compassionate caregivers. From life-saving treatments and emergency care to wellness support and screening services, we are improving your quality of life through extraordinary achievements and amazing results. West Virginia Hospitals. Your health is the heartbeat of our communities.
In 1914, the same year the first commercial flight soared and the Panama Canal opened, Greer Industries was born. Herbert and Agnes Greer began in Morgantown, West Virginia, striking the first pick into the limestone formation that would become the backbone of one of the state's great industrial legacies. From the roads we drive on, the buildings we build, and the communities we serve, Greer Industries has been delivering quality for decades. At Greer Industries, we've been improving lives for more than a century.
At Daniel's Men's Store, exceptional style begins with a curated selection and finishes with a flawless fit. When it's time to buy a suit, Daniel's is here to make sure yours is one of a kind. Discover tailored suits you'll only find in-store at Daniel's.
For couples that are experiencing infertility, about half will have the male factor in the diagnosis. At the WVU Medicine Center for Reproductive Medicine, we offer a wide array of treatment options for male factor infertility. There's really no reason you would need to go anywhere else. If we can identify and treat male factor infertility, we can prevent couples from even having to go down the road of IVF, saving you potentially money and time. We're here to help build a family. We have the capabilities and we care.
For over 20 years, Dan Cava Toyota World has been more than a dealership. We're family-owned, community-focused, and committed to taking care of our customers long after the sale. Our commitment doesn't stop when you drive off the lot. With factory-trained technicians and a service team you can trust, we're here to keep your vehicle running at its best for years to come. So when it's time to get your next vehicle, choose the dealership that's been serving the community for generations. Visit Dan Cava Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world.
Download Metro News Television on your iPhone or Android. Search Metro News Television in your app store. Create an account today to get alerts and watch all live and archived content. Download now.
Touchdown! Blindness.
Welcome back to the show. It's 2:24 on a Tuesday afternoon. Metro News Midday, powered by Salango Law. Visit salangolaw.com. Stephanie Pauly, Ryan Nicholson, our producers today. Dave Allen in the host chair. Coming up on Friday, we do it every Friday. We like to put another great eatery in the state of West Virginia in the spotlight. But we need you to tell us what said eatery is. It could be anywhere in West Virginia. Only rules really is we don't particularly like to do national chains. I mean, they're all good. They employ a lot of people, and that's all well and good. And I enjoy, a good steak from I'm not going to mention any names, but the places I'm talking about, or a burger place or whatever. Those are all great. But we want the mom and pops. We featured last week a really, really great diner down in Caldwell, which is in Greenbrier County, and appreciate one of our listeners down there for letting us know about it. So all we pretty much need from you is we need a description of the restaurant, where it is. It could be a sit-down fancy restaurant. It could be a coffee shop. It could be a bakery, sports bar. As long as they're serving food and drink, that's fine with us. Drop us an email, midday@wvmetronews.com, midday@wvmetronews.com, or you can reach out to either Amanda Barron or myself on social media. It's Dave Allen Radio on Facebook, or at DaveA70 on X for me. Just drop us a line. You can help us out if you can give us the name of the owner, the name of the manager, or something to that effect if you're that close to them, because it helps us out a lot. Because I'm going to be really honest with you, if you reach out to us and we in turn reach out to these places, sometimes we call them and they think we're trying to sell them something. They don't understand that basically it's a free little plug for your restaurant all over the state of West Virginia. We just want to put some eateries in the spotlight. And let's face it, over the last couple of years, if you go back to the COVID years, a lot of the restaurants in America simply did not survive. They're still trying to recover. That's another editorial comment for another time. But bottom line is, we're just trying to help out eateries in West Virginia. So if it's a great place in fill-in name here that's serving great hot dogs, that's serving great steaks, great breakfasts, pastries, whatever the case may be, we want to tell their story. Drop us an email, midday@wvmetronews.com. It's midday@wvmetronews.com, or you can reach out to either Amanda or myself on social media, Dave Allen Radio on Facebook, or at DaveA70 on X. Now, speaking of social media, during the break, as I frequently do, I will just pick up the phone here and I'll either go over to my X page or Facebook or whatever and just kind of peruse and see what's making news. And there was one particular post, and I'm not going to mention the gentleman's name. He is a friend of mine in real life, not just social media life. I actually know the guy personally. And he says, this was a post from him. And again, I'm not going to mention his name here, but he did a post that says, thinking really hard about taking an extended break from social media outside of Messenger and promoting events. It's just not good for my mental health, and I'm starting to notice it. And I appreciate, and I know the guy personally. As I said, I've known him for about 10 years or so. We're not great friends, but we do know each other in real life. And I say that because there's people that on social media, and people that you actually would have a cup of coffee with, or have a beer with, or a donut or whatever. I'm just saying that. But this guy's somebody I know, pretty level-headed guy, pretty smart guy. And I wondered about that, and I wondered how many of you. And this is not getting into Weekly's question of the day material, but I'm just kind of curious. How many of you have thought about doing a complete break on social media? I mean, just putting it down. I know people that are on, let's say, I use Facebook, for example. I know people that are on Facebook that will post things for just their, just to keep their friends and others updated on their family's lives. They may post a picture of the family at Christmas, but they don't scroll. They don't do what's calling doom. They post their stuff and they go on. I know other people, there's like these different personalities of people on social media. I know other people that have a page that never post anything on there, but they just have it because they want to go and they want to just look up stuff from time to time. They want to, I don't want to say spy, but that's not the right word. They want to keep up with their friends, but don't want them knowing about it. Then you got those people that practically live on social media. Okay. I mean, the ones that their day is not complete, and you can be in the middle of a conversation with them and they just grab their phone and start scrolling. Okay, those type people. All right. And I'm just kind of curious when I saw the text or this post rather that my friend had done. I'm just asking the question, is it something that you have ever thought about? Because I'm going to be really honest with you. Social media, the original model, has completely changed from what it was when it started. If you're a person that follows news on social media, the current things in the news, the things that people argue about, just remember that when you go to a great number, especially of national news sites, and you see comments, I'm talking New York Times, ABC News, CNN, Fox News, you know about 70% of those people that put these statements on there aren't actually real people, right? I mean, you are aware of that these are not real people. These are bots that are designed to keep people engaged. And trust me, they're very good at finding things that you're passionate about and then presenting the exact opposite view. There's those that'll say it'll be the same, but I'll tell you, sometimes it's the opposite, just to keep you engaged. So I'm just wondering, any of you ever thought seriously about giving up social media? Just wondering. Open Line West Virginia coming up. Stay with us.
Today's Metro News television forecast is brought to you by Greer Industries, improving people's lives for more than a century.
Meteorologist Joe Hansel here with an update on your forecast. Be mindful of warm, humid conditions and likely chances of rain and storms for areas of the state for the next 5 or 6 days. A little bit of an update on the flood watches for today, including areas east, the eastern panhandle, generally from noon until midnight. There's a 12-hour period of a flood watch. Watching for potentially flash flooding caused by excessive rainfall again. And this is total over the next 5 days. The highest numbers will be generally in some of the higher elevations and near and west of the Allegheny. Regardless, there have been so many days in previous weeks with some up to heavy and excessive rain. The ground may be compromised and already saturated, so even a little bit of rain might cause some issues. Regardless from that, we have a marginal slight risk of excessive rain today and tonight for isolated to widely scattered flash flooding. That's possible again. Continue to remember that phrase, turn around, don't drown. Near and east of the Allegheny, there's a marginal risk of isolated severe storms. Damaging winds can't be ruled out in some far eastern areas of the state. We warmed up to 88 in Charleston yesterday. Partly sunny to overcast skies, likely chances of rain. There's a front nearby, near stationary. And in the long term, for the end of the week, I'll watch for another front to come in. Fly Sabre forecast, it starts at home. We'll pick on Chicago. Quiet weather there today. High pressure, high near 80 degrees. From panhandle to panhandle, likely chance of rain. Highs low to mid 80s. Can't rule out some heavy and excessive rain. To the east, again, a flood watch for a number of you from noon until midnight tonight. East to west here, a lot of highs in the ranks of the 80s. Point Pleasant near 86 today. To the south, Huntington near 88. With a likely chance of showers and storms. We may get some relief early next week on Monday. Until then, there's generally a likely chance of rain for a lot of us for a number of days in a row here. So be mindful of risks of flooding and keep eyes on those streams and rivers yet too.
In 1914, the same year the first commercial flight soared and the Panama Canal opened, Greer Industries was born. Herbert and Agnes Greer began in Morgantown, West Virginia, striking the first pick into the limestone formation that would become the backbone of one of the state's great industrial legacies. From the roads we drive on, the buildings we build, and the communities we serve, Greer Industries has been delivering quality for decades. At Greer Industries, we've been improving lives for more than a century.
If it matters in West Virginia, it's being talked about here.
I always said I was going to move to a mountain in Tucker County, but probably going to put a data center on it, so I got to find a new plan.
Oh, you did not.
Oh, I did. Told you I was a little grumpy today.
Oh, man, you got some zingers today, Dave. I love it.
Join Dave Wilson and TJ Meadows Monday through Friday for Talk Line. Available on mobile, Roku, Fire TV, smart TVs, and online at WVMetroNewsTV.com.
On the next State of Minds.
We cook West Virginian food is how we like to phrase it. But I knew that every time I would hear a story, and I would hear the same story, but it never got old, about what this meant to the family and how it was served and how special it was to be put on the table.
earthjustice.org.
Today's Metro
today.
News television
That's
forecast is brought to
earthjustice.org.
This is Metro News Midday, presented by Salango Law. SalangoLaw.com.
Welcome back to the show. 26 minutes away from 3 o'clock here on a Tuesday afternoon. Metro News Midday powered by Salango Law. Visit SalangoLaw.com. Stephanie Pauly, Ryan Nicholson, our producers today. I do want to throw, before we get to Open Line West Virginia, got plenty of text to get to. Your phone calls are always welcome. 1-800-765-TALK is the phone number. You can text 304-TALK-304. Yesterday on the show, we talked to the West Virginia Secretary of State's General Counsel, David Cook, about the situation in Harrison County. And I want to kind of give you an update on that. So it all has to do with in the Republican primary in the House. It was District 71, and the incumbent delegate, Laura Kimball, is contesting the result after she lost by 6 votes, 6 whole votes to challenger Tim McNeely. So the winner of that is going to be determined at its July 15th regular meeting. Now, yesterday, the county commission met to get the final pieces of evidence in connection with the case. And I really like using the term evidence because that makes it sound like there was something nefarious. But things that they're going to be taking a look at, I'll put it that way. And the commission heard testimony last week. The Harrison County Clerk, John Spires, testified that the totals did not change from election night to the recount, but did confirm that non-Republicans did vote in the closed primary. And according to Clerk Spires, there were instances of independents registering as Republican to cast a vote and quickly switching their registration back. Now, again, David Cook, who we interviewed from Secretary of State's office on the show yesterday, said, and I think it's very important to point out that although the Secretary of State is monitoring the situation, this is really up to, in this case, the Harrison County Commission. And that's what they're taking a look at. Now, there's an appeal process. The Secretary of State's office is there to basically give them guidance on this whole thing. But so commissioners have 2 options come July 15th. They could deny the contest from Kimball, and then she could appeal that decision to Harrison County Circuit Court. And the second option would be to order a new election for the 14 precincts in District 71. So that's kind of where we are right now. And again, the next meeting is going to be July 15th. 6 votes is what separated the incumbent from the challenger in the Republican primary. 6 whole votes. So they're going to try to hash it all out on July the 15th. 1-800-765-TALK. That is the phone number. Text 304-TALK-304. Let me see here. Text says, well, Dave, the scam, the synchronized conservative anger media, is at it again. They know Republicans are going to take a hit in the midterm, so they whip the oldie but goodie accusations of Democrats being gas communist. It's been working since McCarthy, so why not give it another whirl? Republicans have a loser policy, so they hurl insults, says the texter. Text, as much as I wanted them to win, I'm kind of glad the USA lost last night because anything moving forward would have been tainted by the Trump stench, says the texter. Look, I'm not going to say that's Trump derangement syndrome, but I'm going to say that's somebody with some hardcore feelings about Donald Trump, and I'll leave it at that. Nomination for the lunch spot here. I do appreciate that. And the texter even, I don't want to spoil it because we may not be able to get him on this week, but I do appreciate the text. They even gave us the owner. So I do appreciate that. Text, I cannot stand social media. Cell phones and social media have been the downfall of society. I grew up in the 80s when things got done without any social media. Those were simple times that are really missed, says the texter. I'm on social media. I pretty much have to be with this job. And I've got you hear me talk about all the time, I've got my radio account which is primarily used for just that radio. I have my X account, which is primarily just used. That's what used to be known as Twitter. I got that. And I got my personal page, which, is me lamenting about my sports teams, my cats, my wife, the food, that sort of thing. And the occasional dad joke type meme, even though I'm a cat dad, not dad to humans. But if it all went away tomorrow, to be honest with you, I'd be perfectly fine with it. You know what else I'd be perfectly fine with? People using speakerphones in public, if that were just not a thing. 100%. I would be completely happy with that. I don't even have FaceTime on my phone. FaceTime came on my phone, and one of the first things I did is I deleted it because I don't need to see people I'm talking to. I just don't. And if you're, this is old guy talking, if you're in Kroger and you feel the need to FaceTime someone or at least talk on a speakerphone because you're trying to decide what kind of cream corn to buy, then perhaps you have bigger issues. I don't even answer the phone. Look, if I am in my local Kroger, my wife and I are shopping or whatever the store is, my phone rings, I text them back, unless it's somebody I don't get a call from, on a regular basis. Text them back and say, hey, I'm shopping right now. Can I call you back? I'm not going to, as I'm walking down aisle 20, you're not going to hear me on the phone. It's not going to happen. I'm either going to step outside or I'm going to say, can I call you back? All right. That's just me being, hey, get off my lawn. Text, proud of the Van Bulldogs for getting their team back. Well, they're not quite there yet. But according to the coach that we talked to last hour, Mark Agosti, the coach of Van in Boone County, they're hopeful. They're hopeful that they'll have their football team back. Text Dave, again, West Virginia makes the news that its public schools are broke and closing and failing, and we want people to locate here. Not going to happen. We need to look at what Kentucky is doing. They have one of the best school systems in the nation. Text, been a pretty day so far, says the texter. I'm just going to say it would be a great day to patch some potholes. Just saying, says the texter. Let's see here. Text, I got Facebook in 2006 when it first became available to non-college people. 2 years ago, it got hacked, and I lost access to it and Instagram. I couldn't be happier without it. Facebook is full of toxic boomers, and Instagram is full of Botox-faced vapid drones. Twitter, a.k.a. X, is hot garbage except for news events. I stick with Reddit for news and doom scrolling and Snapchat for sending spicy pictures. It's all dopamine-stimulating brain rot, though. I could not agree more. Text, all we ever do is talk about the foster care crisis and nothing gets done. Like you said, the Republicans and Democrats are both guilty here. Text, the less lawyers are involved in college and high school sports, the better. That's what's wrong with most levels of sports now. Text, agree with the texter. Trump stained the U.S. soccer run by involving himself. Another thing that would have been better off had he left it alone. Text, as they continue to try to deal with the warehouse fire in Parkersburg, let's remember our first responders that are on the scene. Text, I love West Virginia Schools kickoff at Herbert Hoover High School. One newly elected candidate for Board of Education goes on vacation. Talk about hitting the ground running. Geez, says the texter. Well, I mean, and that's in Kanawha County in defense of that person. And they were going on vacation, but there are certain things when you plan vacations ahead of time that you can't get your money back. I don't know if that's the case, but I'm just saying, and I don't know when the thing at Herbert Hoover was planned, but most people in that case are not probably going to cancel their vacation. I'm just saying, especially if you can't get the money back. I'm saying that because I'm the cheapest person that ever lived. 1-800-765-TALK, text 304, talk 304. It's Metro News Midday, powered by Salango Law. Visit salangolaw.com. It's 2:42. We'll take a break and come back after this.
We'll be right back. This is Metro News Midday. Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you. We've got it down to a science, an absolute state of art. We do it all, restoration, cleaning, and reconstruction. When disaster strikes, just pick up the phone. We're Panhandle Cleaning
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong.
For over 20 years, Dan Cava Toyota World has been more than a dealership. We're family-owned, community-focused, and committed to taking care of our customers long after the sale. Visit Dan Cava Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world!
A vasectomy reversal is a much more complicated procedure than a vasectomy, using sutures that are essentially smaller than your eyelash to reconstruct anatomy. I do what I do to try to help the patients of West Virginia have kids.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
The best selection of WVU apparel is at Daniel's Men's Store. Exclusive designs you won't find anywhere else. Stylish, sophisticated, and unmistakably mountaineer. Shop in store or online at danielsofmorgantown.com.
Across West Virginia, hospitals are always here, healing, helping, and standing strong for our communities. Hospitals save lives and build livelihoods. They're among our largest employers, with a passionate workforce of 54,000 West Virginians. Hospitals are economic drivers, contributing close to $17 billion to our state's economy and working to ensure access to care for all. From life-saving moments to wellness support, West Virginia hospitals keep our state healthy, our families strong, and our future bright.
In 1914, the same year the first commercial flight soared and the Panama Canal opened, Greer Industries was born. Herbert and Agnes Greer began in Morgantown, West Virginia, striking the first pick into the limestone formation that would become the backbone of one of the state's great industrial legacies. From the roads we drive on, the buildings we build, and the communities we serve, Greer Industries has been delivering quality for decades. At Greer Industries, we've been improving lives for more than a century.
On the next State of Minds.
We cook West Virginian food is how we like to phrase it.
I knew that every time I would hear a story, and I would hear the same story, but it never got old, about what this meant to the family and how it was served and how special it was to be put on the table.
Welcome back to the show. 14 minutes away from 3 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon. Metro News Midday, powered by Salango Law. Visit salangolaw.com. Dave Allen in the host chair. Stephanie Pauly, Ryan Nicholson producing today. 1-800-765-TALK. That is the phone number. Text 304-TALK-304. West Virginia's on the rise. New businesses, new opportunities, and a strong, resilient workforce leading the way. Check out the full story, WVNrich.com. A video presentation sponsored by Huntington Bank. Proud to be investing in the future of West Virginia. Text, glad Supreme Court ruled against the Trump administration from not allowing pot smokers from owning guns. I don't know. Text says, doesn't look like I missed much by not coming to Charleston for the regatta and for the circus, says the texter. Well, again, you do you, but there was a whole lot of people in Charleston this past weekend. I mean, a whole lot. Text, Dave, love that Trump danced Belgian players did when they scored. I just read it the way it comes in. Text, Trump heading overseas again to embarrass us even more. It never ends, says the texter. Text says, stole this from the internet. When you see white smoke over Parkersburg, you know we've elected a new Ferris wheel, says the texter. I just read them. Text, our country going down the tubes, and Capito takes 10 weeks of vacation a year, and people worry about a board member taking a week. I have no idea how much vacation time Senator Shelley Moore Capito gets. I have no idea how much vacation time that any elected official gets, because I just never cared to look it up. Text, Dave, do you also have a problem with people talking out loud to each other in public? What's the difference between talking out loud to each other in public and talking out loud to each other on a speakerphone? Okay, boomer, says, well, first of all, I'm not a boomer. I'm Gen X. Okay. I am the most Gen X person you will ever meet. Second of all, to answer your question, the difference between people talking out loud to each other in public and talking on a speakerphone, really, there's none. There's none. I got an issue with that too. But I will tell you that there have been times that I've wanted to get involved in conversations. I mean, example, a few years ago, my wife had to have a medical procedure done, and one of those things where she has to have somebody drive her home, outpatient thing. So I show up bright and early on a snowy morning in Charleston to take her to the hospital, sit in their waiting room. In a waiting room about the size of, and probably smaller than the average size living room, okay? Waiting area probably held 10 people, 15 people, all right? 7:30 in the morning, and I'm listening to a guy on speakerphone as he explains the proper way to remove a certain kind of engine from a truck on speakerphone. And I sat there and I listened to the whole thing. And at one point, I was just going to walk over and, and say, Earl, because I just have a feeling his name was Earl. Just, Earl, I appreciate that, because I was sitting here wondering over here on this snowy winter's morning after driving my wife to the hospital, just wondering what's the best way to remove an engine from an 86 Ford. I was just wondering that. Thank you so much for sharing it with all of us. Text. I had Facebook, TikTok, and X when Charlie Kirk got shot, and I saw all the mocking, joking, and cheering about a man getting his neck blown out on video. It affected me deeply. I couldn't understand how people could be so evil. I deleted all my social media accounts, and I don't regret it, says the texter. Sometimes with some people, there's just that thing. And it could have been that. It could have been any number of things. And you're just like, no, I'm good. I'm good. I'm out. Text, now that the World Cup is over, can we please get back to concentrating on the real football? So it's, well, the rest of the world would probably argue with that. But, I don't disagree with the sentiment. I'm going to be really honest with you, because I need some football in my life. I really do. Text, we need more Metro News programming in the Mid-Ohio Valley. We currently only have Talk Line and Sports Line. Well, looks like that we are myself and the weekly show are being left out. The weekly gang, they're being left out of this. So we'll have to get on that. Text, hats off to Charleston Mayor Amy Goodwin and her team for pulling off a great regatta. All the concerts were great and zero issues other than the heat, which she can't control. Great job. We know who can control it. Metro News meteorologist Brian Hughes. Oh, yeah, and the government. Forgot about them. Text, can we please put an end to timeshare commercials? This is just like random complaining day. You signed up for one. Now you want your money back? It's kind of like forgiving of student loans. Don't take them out if you can't pay them back. 1-800-765-TALK. Text 304-TALK-304. Text says, can someone please convince John Fetterman to run for president? Thank you, guys, says the texter, for correctly pointing out that Social Security was never designed to live on. My husband and I have 3 grown kids and grandkids, and we're both retired. We didn't make a lot while we were working or raising our family, but we saved all we could, and now we are enjoying a great retirement. We don't even need Social Security. Not saying we're perfect, but it's also not hard, says the texter. Text, we have to listen to Trump every day. How do you think we feel? Says the texter. All right. With that, it's 2:52, 8 away from 3 o'clock. We will take a break and wrap it up after this.
We'll be right back. This is Metro News Midday. Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
For couples that are experiencing infertility, about half will have the male factor in the diagnosis. At the WVU Medicine Center for Reproductive Medicine, we offer a wide array of treatment options for male factor infertility. There's really no reason you would need to go anywhere else. If we can identify and treat male factor infertility, we can prevent couples from even having to go down the road of IVF, saving you potentially money and time. We're here to help build a family. We have the capabilities and we care.
I'm Sean Kovich, Mountaineer Golf Coach. When disaster strikes your home, business, or golf game, call the restoration company the Mountaineers call. Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
At Daniel's Men's Store, exceptional style begins with a curated selection and finishes with a flawless fit. When it's time to buy a suit, Daniel's is here to make sure yours is one of a kind. Discover tailored suits you'll only find in-store at Daniel's.
For over 20 years, Dan Cava Toyota World has been more than a dealership. We're family-owned, community-focused, and committed to taking care of our customers long after the sale. Our commitment doesn't stop when you drive off the lot. With factory-trained technicians and a service team you can trust, we're here to keep your vehicle running at its best for years to come. So when it's time to get your next vehicle, choose the dealership that's been serving the community for generations. Visit Dan Cava Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the road.
West Virginia is home. It's where we work, live, and raise our families. At the heart of our communities are West Virginia hospitals and their compassionate caregivers. From life-saving treatments and emergency care to wellness support and screening services, we are improving your quality of life through extraordinary achievements and amazing results. West Virginia Hospitals. Your health is the heartbeat of our communities.
3 guys before the game.
What did you know about Rich Rodriguez when he's named the coach?
I didn't know nothing about it. I was like, oh, this is college ball right here.
Yeah, it's for real.
Yeah.
Available on Metro News Television.
Welcome back to the show. It's 4 minutes away from 3 o'clock. Breaking news here. I want to throw this out there, and our news team will follow up on it, I'm sure, out of Huntington. Huntington Police Chief Phil Watkins released a statement. They have confirmed a man died after a shooting near 24th Street and 9th Avenue. It happened about 1 o'clock, just after 1 o'clock or so this afternoon. Detectives investigating the circumstances that led up to the shooting. No word yet on whether there is a suspect. Anyone with information is urged to contact the Huntington Police Department. But again, breaking news out of Huntington. The chief of police there issuing a statement that a man died after a shooting near 24th Street and 9th Avenue in Huntington. Happened just after 1 p.m. this afternoon. Follow WVMetroNews.com. Listen on air for more information on that. Look who's here. Ladies and gentlemen, you had enjoyed him as the loving little impish mop-haired boy in 8 is Enough.
Impish.
It's Dave Weekley.
Impish little boy.
I don't know. I really don't put any thought into those whatsoever.
I know.
As if you can tell.
You should have gone for the Cousin Oliver angle.
Yeah. Robbie Wrist.
You know, look at you. Look at the big brain on you. That's good.
Yes.
That's good.
He's a jinx.
Yeah, I know.
He was a jinx. Poor Oliver. Poor Cousin Oliver.
Ah, yeah, that's true.
That's the good old days. All right, so I got just called Boomer by a texter because I was complaining about people on speakerphones in stores. It's a good point, though, because the texter said, are you also bothered by people talking loud? And I said, yes.
I just think it's interesting how people aren't self-aware of that kind of stuff. Like when you hear somebody that's in the supermarket Like, how much milk do we need? And they're talking to somebody. Then now they could be shopping for somebody else. I like to think about that.
Yeah.
But it also, when you're like walking through a store and somebody is on their speakerphone, on their phone, and it's just like a rando conversation. It has like nothing to do with why they're at the particular store. That's kind of interesting.
I'll tell you what else is fun to do. I'm not saying I've done this.
Okay.
I'm not saying, but a friend of mine named Stephanie. I'm going to just throw this out there. May or may not have done. No, she didn't do this. I'm just kidding. But you can just have a conversation. Like if you think people are standing too close to you, you just pick up your phone and go, I don't know where to bury a body. Why are you asking me?
Yeah, that's funny.
I mean,
if you're at like the Quickie Mart or whatever, and you've got your headphones on, you can pretend that you're talking or listening to a call so you don't have to engage in another meat stick.
Yeah.
While you're waiting there.
Yeah. Or, you could always say, well, send me the picture. I don't know if it's I don't know if it's infected or not. Just send me the picture.
Right.
I'll take a look at it.
That's a good one.
These are things that go through radio people's minds.
Does
All
it
right.
look infected to you?
What you got on your little song and dance number today?
We're talking about monuments. If West Virginia was to erect a brand new monument tomorrow to a local pioneer, innovator, or legendary figure, who's next? Who's next?
Who's next?
Who's next?
All right, so I don't know how to think about that.
Yeah,
because then you don't want to put political people in there because somebody will complain about it. So
the other thing is who's already got statues. You don't want to put up a second statue, or do you?
Or it'll just get taken down when it offends somebody in 30 years. So.
That's right.
All right, it's Weekly and the Crew coming up on Hotline and many of these same Metro News stations. I'll see you tomorrow. Till then, have fun and love somebody.